Today, we're gonna look at these suggestions. Solar sailing. Carbon-14. News about Voyager and James Webb. Red Mercury. Gutenberg printing press. American Lion. Wow radio signal. Elon Musk bought Twitter. Last but not least, where we get our music from. Solar sailing is pretty much like sailing, but boats use the wind to move. Solar sailing uses light. This idea came from the 1980s, but they didn't pay attention to it for years. And then 30 years later, JAXA, which is the space agency of Japan, created a solar sailing probe named IKAROS. The IKAROS is made from a thin sheet of metal paper, which is very light. The thickness and lightweight causes sunlight to have an effect on it, and it makes it move. You could say solar energy moves this thing in space like wind does to boats. To move, this thing doesn't need any energy except light. JAXA sent this thing to space in 2010, and it started moving with solar energy, and the maximum speed it reached was 1,438 kilometers an hour. They say this is a project that's good for the future. So it's basically in the testing phase, and it's showing good results. A lot of you ask, like, how do scientists find out that an ancient mammoth was this age? Or how old is this wood? Or how old is this fabric? This is what carbon-14 does. Carbon-14 can determine 50,000 years, but older than that, they have to use different methods. Like dinosaur fossils that are millions of years old, there's a method called radiometric dating to determine how old it is. You guys know the Earth is very old. Like if you want to date a rock or a mountain, you have to use radiometrics. But carbon-14 is the best tool to date young things, like historic pieces, because they're very young compared to the age of the planet. Let's go look at some things that we sent to space. If somebody says James Webb is ready, they're making a mistake, because it's still not ready. It has sent some test pictures, but it's not completely ready to take what it's capable of. Be sure that if it sends its first clear image, we're gonna let you guys know. The Voyagers are on their way as well. Voyager 1 is about 23 million kilometers away from us. Voyager 2, which is a little slower, is about 19 million kilometers away from us. There's another question that people ask, and that's, do asteroids or other things crash into it? We have to say that there's a chance, but it's very rare, because space is so big and vast that asteroids, planets, stars are extremely far from one another, and the chances of crashing into each other is extremely low. And that is why there's no safety mechanism on the Voyagers, because the chances of crashing into anything is very, very low. The Earth, how many asteroids does it get hit with? Voyager compared to the Earth is nothing. Scientists believe the Voyagers can travel for thousands of years without the chance of crashing into anything. The next suggestion, the Gutenberg printing press. If you've seen our video about the Renaissance, you know that the printing press was invented around that time, and Renaissance, which pretty much means rebirth, got sped up because of this invention. When this tool was invented, it pretty much created a revolution. In a place where every book or writing had to be written down by hand, this thing started printing, and that's 3,600 pages a day. This caused the Renaissance to reach success. If you see our video about the Renaissance, you'll know what we're talking about. Some people had some question about our red mercury video, and they would ask, are you sure there is no red mercury in the world? Or do bats have mercury on them? Yes, we're sure, and we actually read everywhere we could, and we realized red mercury is a hoax and it doesn't exist, and bats don't carry any mercury on them. If somebody says, I collected mercury from bats and sold it, just know they're lying. It also doesn't make any sense. Mercury like this can't be found in nature. It comes from a cinnabar, and it has to be roasted to be turned into the mercury we all know of. Maybe bats roast some cinnabar and create mercury, and that's for people to take. I don't think they need any mercury, they just want to eat some insects. So let's create another rumor. Do you guys know the American cockroach? In the place they live, they collect gold. Maybe with this rumor, we can eradicate them. But obviously this was a joke. The next suggestion is the American lion. The American lion is the biggest lion in history, and it went extinct around 11,000 years ago. This cat only lived in North America, and since it was separated from the other lions, it went through evolution differently. This lion is 25% bigger than the African or Asian lion, and that is why it's considered the biggest lion in history. It is also good to know that this is the biggest cat in the world, because its weight could be as high as 500 kilograms. The biggest cat found in modern history was a Siberian tiger, and it weighed up to 420 kilograms. But the American lion weighed up to 500 kilos. If it didn't go extinct, it would be the king of the jungle. The Ohio State University on August 15, 1977 received a radio signal from space. The radio waves gave this code 6EQUJ5. The first person that received this signal and read it was very shocked, and that is why on the printed page he wrote "wow" with the exclamation mark. And that is why they named this signal after WOW. This is the only radio signal that came from space. 45 years has passed, but no other radio signals has reached us. So what does this signal say? We don't know. Nobody could find meaning in this signal. I think everybody knows by now that Elon Musk bought Twitter. He bought 9%, and after he had that, he said, I need the rest of the shares. Either send me the entire website, or I'm gonna sell the 9% and crash the market. Twitter people got nervous and they gave a statement that nobody can own more than 15% of Twitter, but they couldn't stop Elon. They were forced to sell it. They sold it to him for $44 billion. If you didn't know, Twitter would delete some opinion, and they would even suspend some accounts. And the most famous person they suspended was Donald Trump. Elon Musk said, I want to buy Twitter to make it a completely free speech platform, and anyone that wants to say anything can join. Some people say that he might bring the Donald Trump account back, but no words have came out. And last but not least, it's a suggestion we get a lot, And where do we get our music? We've said it plenty of times, but we'll say it again. All the music we use in our videos could be found on the WoW 16 channel, and the easy link to access it is wow16.com. In the end, we always say who the richest people are, but it doesn't make sense anymore because it hasn't changed for a while. Elon Musk is first, Jeff Bezos second, and Bernard Arnault is third. Bill Gates is following in fourth place as well. Please leave your questions below. Just be sure we'll answer them somewhere, in a special video or in all of your suggestions.